What does hustle really mean? For Damon Dash, it wasn't about flashy chains or fast cars. It was about control, about owning the game instead of begging for a seat at the table. From Harlem streets to the heights of Roc-A-Fella, Dame turned ambition into an empire. Music, fashion, film, he built it all with relentless energy and fearless vision. But that same fire that made him unstoppable also made him impossible to stand with. His refusal to compromise won him respect, but cost him partnerships, friends, and the empire he helped create. This is the story of Damon Dash, the mogul, the visionary, and maybe his own worst enemy. The rise, building the rock. In the early 90s, hip-hop was still controlled by the major labels. If you didn't have a deal, you didn't have a shot. But Damon Dash didn't believe in waiting for permission. Alongside Kareem, Biggs, Burke, and his artist Jay-Z, Dame built something from nothing, Roc-A-Fella Records. When labels told Jay-Z he wasn't marketable, Dame bet everything on independence. He financed the records, orchestrated the marketing, and used street hustle to build momentum. Roc-A-Fella wasn't just a label, it was a cultural revolution, redefining how music, fashion, and business intersected. Every mixtape, every street corner promotion, every small victory fueled a movement that would change the industry forever. They didn't stop at music. Roca-wear became a fashion staple, selling hundreds of millions and turning hip-hop style into mainstream influence. Roc-A-Fella Films released Paid in Full and other projects, cementing the brand in pop culture. Dame packaged Jay not just as a rapper, but as the face of an empire. Music, fashion, film, lifestyle. What separated Dame was vision. He saw every angle, every lane, every revenue stream. To him, Roc-A-Fella wasn't just about hits or money. It was about control, influence, and leaving a lasting legacy that transcended the charts. The fall, money versus principle. By 2004, Roc-A-Fella wasn't just successful, it was untouchable. The Hard Knock Life tour broke records. Jay-Z was a superstar. The brand had credibility in the streets and power in the boardroom. But success comes with decisions, and this was where the empire cracked. Def Jam, hungry to bring Roc-A-Fella fully under its wing, made their move. Jay-Z saw an opportunity, scaled the rock through the machine. Dame Dash saw betrayal, giving up independence for comfort. When Jay and Biggs agreed to sell their shares, Dame was left on the outside. For him, it wasn't just business, it was personal. He believed loyalty came before money. Jay believed growth required compromise. But it wasn't only the money. Dame's personality had been a weapon and a weakness. He cussed out executives in meetings, embarrassed partners, and bulldozed through rooms where diplomacy mattered. To him, it was strength. To others, it was arrogance. Principle without flexibility becomes isolation. Dame's refusal to bend, combined with his fiery approach, turned allies into enemies. The Rock dynasty ended with Jay as president of Def Jam, and Dame forced to rebuild from scratch. The wilderness years. After the split, Dame Dash entered what many called his wilderness years. The man who once sat on top of music now faced lawsuits, debt, and betrayals. The empire he had built, Roca-wear, Roc-A-Fella, the films, was gone. The $700 million Roca-wear sale went through, but Dame was no longer in control. Every headline seemed to question his relevance. Every interview scrutinized his decisions, and every failed project reminded him of what was lost. His personal life unraveled too. He divorced designer Rachel Roy. IRS troubles piled up. Friends distanced themselves. To the industry, Dame looked finished, a cautionary tale of brilliance undone by ego. But one thing he never lost was his mouth, or his drive. He launched DD172, a creative collective mixing art, fashion, and music. He produced indie films. He promoted new talent.
It's a process. It ain't just shooting the movie. We also gonna make sure that, that everyone that's shooting the movie has something that represents Dash Films and crew. So we gotta make that ourselves. We enjoy the process of hand making it and pressing them shit. We'll get some blanks, put them on them. But it takes a team. It's a unified effort. It's not just me. It's everybody. Everybody moving, everybody working. And that's the only way to achieve it or make history. You can't do it alone. You gotta have your crew.
And everywhere he went, he shouted about ownership and independence. Some dismissed him as bitter, others saw a visionary ahead of his time, warning the next generation not to repeat his mistakes. Even in the wilderness, Dame Dash remained unbroken, preparing for a comeback that would redefine his legacy. The rebound and the vindication. Here's where the story shifts. The very principles Dame was mocked for in the 2000s became gospel in the 2000s and 10s and beyond. Artists like Nipsey Hussle spoke openly about independence, ownership, and controlling your masters. Today's rappers build fashion lines, liquor brands, tech startups. Influencers own their platforms. Athletes sign lifetime deals with equity attached. The culture caught up to what Dame had been saying all along. Independence wasn't just cool, it was necessary. Dame Dash Studios became his new empire. Movies, streaming, his own platform for creators. No middlemen, no compromise. Dame stayed loud, but this time, history gave him the upper hand. Visionaries always look crazy until time proves them right. Dame's Vindication was never about charts or awards. It was about seeing the future before anyone else. But here's the irony. Dame was right about the system, but wrong about his delivery. His refusal to compromise built an empire. His refusal to soften destroyed it. Both truths exist at once. Falling out and personal struggles. Even moguls hit walls. For Dame Dash, the Roc-A-Fella split wasn't just a business loss, it was deeply personal. Losing control over Roc-A-Wear and the label he built meant watching an empire he helped create slip from his hands. Lawsuits, financial pressure, and public criticism piled up, and the spotlight that once celebrated him now scrutinized every move, magnifying mistakes. On top of that, personal life challenges, divorce, custody battles, and strained relationships added emotional weight. For someone used to controlling outcomes, period tested his resilience. Every misstep was amplified by the public eye. Friends who once stood by him questioned loyalty. Industry insiders doubted his relevance, while social media amplified every criticism. Yet, even in this low point, Dame didn't disappear. He continued to speak on ownership, educate younger artists, and push creative projects through independent channels. These struggles became a crucible, shaping his perspective on loyalty, ego, and perseverance. They reminded him, and the audience, that even kings can fall, but resilience and vision define whether you rise stronger than before. The comeback and legacy building. Dame Dash's story didn't end in loss. He turned setbacks into stepping stones, showing the world that reinvention is the ultimate power move. Through DD172 and later Dame Dash Studios, he created platforms for independent artists, filmmakers, and entrepreneurs, channels that didn't rely on the old system to thrive. He leaned into mentorship, sharing hard-earned lessons on ownership, contracts, and brand building. Younger creators, inspired by his bold moves and unfiltered advice, began to see him not as a cautionary tale, but as a visionary ahead of his time. His influence reached beyond music, into fashion, film, and entrepreneurship, shaping a new generation of independent minds. This comeback wasn't just about wealth or fame, it was about legacy. Dame Dash proved that the value of an empire isn't just in profits, it's in influence, mentorship, and the culture you leave behind. His story teaches that losing control temporarily doesn't mean losing purpose. Adapt, persist, and use every setback to fortify your foundation. The comeback, in many ways, defines the mogul more than the rise ever did. So here's the real blueprint. Own your work, prepare for betrayal, stay consistent, and yes, stand on principle. But remember this, being an asshole might win battles, but it can also cost you the war. How you treat people can determine whether your empire lasts or crumbles. Dame Dash shows us that vision is priceless, but relationships, loyalty, and respect are what sustain it. So ask yourself, what matters more, being right or keeping the right people around you? Drop your answer in the comments, hit like, share this with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Mansa Musa Mode for more untold stories of moguls and visionaries. And don't forget to subscribe to our second channel, Mansa Musa Mindset, for deeper insights into wealth, hustle, and strategy.